Welcome everyone to my second annual open forum discussion about racism and leadership for the fitness and health professional. This year's theme will be You Are Part of the Solution. So let's begin. Unfortunately, there are no attendees today that can participate in the conversation like we did last year. Hey, but that's okay, because the most important part of me doing this is just to offer it. And whether someone is attending or not is not the objective. The point is to lead by example, and lastly, to make you aware that there are other individuals who are like-minded and are working and interested in working towards long-lasting change to overcome racism. Creating safe and supportive forums and other conversation is the main reason why I'm doing this. So that being said, I will continue with today's agenda and will show you what I had planned, and guess who the audience will be? It will be you. So you can interact with this presentation by posting your comments, questions, and experiences, and you may also email me directly or message me directly. My email is juliosalado@fitnessfoundry.net. I am looking forward to hearing from you and reading your comments. So please keep watching. Quick bio. Let's see if I can. So I am Coach Julio Salado. I am a personal trainer, author, and educator. I'm the founder of fitnessfoundry.net, an online resource for health and wellness. I have been in the industry for over 15 years. I've worn different hats in the industry, and I am also an EMT, consultant for team development and personal training businesses. Most important thing that this has a special place in my heart, just like you, is my community. And I know you understand what I'm talking about. Public health, including physical and mental health, is something that's very near and dear to my heart. And I am very excited that you will continue to watch this video to be part of the solution. So I would need at this point to just basically talk to you, because I had to change gears for this presentation, for this forum. I want to start by telling all viewers that you have the power to build long-lasting change to overcome racism. What I am doing today is something that you can do too. I encourage you to start your own open forum about racism and leadership for the health and fitness professional. You do not need a college degree, title, or be a fitness influencer with thousands of followers on social media to make an impact. I am an advocate of working within our sphere of influence. This includes friends, family, and peers. When we do this individually within our sphere of influence, we can make some serious change and plant seeds of change. Technology allows us to host these online forums, just like I'm doing, and connect with individuals and groups with similar mission to overcome racism within the fitness industry and local community. The goal is to have more conversations about racism, even when it's not trending mainstream media. I will go through the full presentation and invite you to post your comments, questions, and experience. And as I said earlier, you can contact me directly. Now, I would like to give a brief background about the forum and what to expect for today. What I'm going to read to you is from my op-ed in the June 2021, this month, Personal Fitness Professional magazine. And it's titled You Are Part of the Solution. And it was coincidence that it's being published this month because this forum is done annually in June. So let me read to you, and as I'm reading, you can watch this slide. When the footage of George Floyd's death was first broadcast to the world, I deeply understood the prevailing feeling of anger and fear. As a person of color, I have witnessed and experienced them throughout my life. In my opinion, acts of racism seek to damage or destroy another person's feeling of self-worth. The result is to dehumanize a fellow human being. Clearly, racism is not a political issue. It's a human rights issue. Systemic racism is an elephant in the room. A juggernaut of inequitable policies and processes are set up in our country's financial institutions, healthcare system, and criminal justice system, as well as in opportunities for employment and housing. The result is to disenfranchise and disproportionately affect every aspect of the lives of predominantly minority communities. I asked a viewer who has never experienced racism to understand that feeling uncomfortable with discussing racism is part of the process of acknowledging it. You can be part of the solution. Taking steps to address racism. 1. Acknowledge the issue. 2. Initiate conversation. 3. Cultivate a new way of thinking. 4. Take action. In June of 2020, I decided to host an open forum about racism and the fitness professional, focusing on how to be part of the solution using our own sphere of influence. In a discussion, 7 health and fitness professionals from different backgrounds came together to share their experiences. In my outreach campaign to invite fitness professionals from diverse backgrounds and experience levels, I began to see a pattern of less than positive responses, and perspectives. Unfortunately, I also received more silence than expected. I will share some of my interaction and important takeaways from my conversation that reflect the pervasive nature of racism in the fitness industry. Okay, so the first reply to my request for participation in the forum provided me with a lesson about personal views that do not actually reflect the business public profile. This is from a well-known fitness leader, podcast host, and business coach in our industry. Hey Julio, I appreciate you sharing this and trying to influence others in a positive way with your unique experience. I personally do not agree systemic racism exists, and I hope you can respect my beliefs as I respect yours. Hope all is well, my friend. Yeah, so it did hurt me when I read his reply. However, it did not deter me from wanting to connect with other industry leaders on this topic. So you can clearly see the disconnect. And that may be interpreted few different ways. How I interpret it is a denial of my experience. My physical experience cannot be denied, and we will move on. Now, this is from a veteran high-performance sports and conditioning coach for professional and collegiate teams. Julio, if you think it's bad in the health and fitness, I invite you to take a walk down the dark halls of S&C. I've had almost 200 unfollows since my tweet this morning. Does that sound familiar? Or is that a reason why you may not want to post publicly, but you may be doing something internally or within your gym or within your sphere of influence? I understand. The next response is from a very well-known coach of high-performance athletes who runs a variety of programs for the fitness professional. It is really hard. The environment is really bad right now. I appreciate any advice on how to handle it. Now, this was during the height of the George Floyd marches and the mainstream media uh, seeing it on TV. So, in other words, it was trending, and we could not get away from it. A lot of emotions. So obviously the attitudes and emotional responses cited here vary, but these comments point out the need to address racism in our industry. One of the most powerful tools we have is to initiate conversation and work towards organizational changes to address racism together. So, what are your questions or experiences with racism? What are your comments, questions, or experience with racism? I'm going to ask if you can post your answers in the comments. You may message me or discuss within your network. As I said, one of the most powerful tools we have is to initiate conversation, not to change minds. That's not what this forum is about. It's not about changing minds. It's just planting seeds and having a transmission line between us humans that are trying to live together and thrive. Now, during my conversation, from last year's forum, here are comments I heard repeatedly, and these are comments that I hear today. I don't know how I can help. I do not want to offend anyone, so I stay quiet. I never experienced racism, but I want to help. Now, I heard these comments from all levels of experience, all different titles. And it's something I want to ask you. Do you identify with any of those comments? If so, then you are in the right place. And I'm very proud of you. So I want to take this opportunity and allow you to hear some of our peers discuss their experiences too. This forum is a follow-up from last year's event where we had 7 health and fitness professionals come together from different backgrounds and share their experiences. What I'm going to do, I am going to forward it to the conversation, to the comments from them. Bear with me, and here we go. And post your comments.
I feel like that's needed now more than ever. So anytime I'm hesitant to post or do something online, I say to myself, this is the most important thing. And you never know what you might say that might hit someone the right way and cause change. So never be afraid to do that.
And Julio, you said one thing that stood out to me. You said fear of what, saying something might do to the clientele that you have and or the, how people might perceive something that you may say. And that is a big thing because, people can interpret many different ways. And I think that it can often be a fear, sometimes maybe a fear of mine, is that you want to be politically correct and not say the wrong thing, but sometimes you don't say anything at all, and that's in legal system they call the act of omission, right? So not saying something when you should say something, and you're held responsible for that. And I started to think about that in these terms of racial inequities and how being a white person, where are my boundaries? I've never really pushed those limits. I've never really, talked about these things in the face of others. You just think, oh well, it'll pass, or some whatever you think. But I've never really pushed those boundaries to really find out what if I can still be politically correct and push boundaries and make mistakes along the way and apologize for mistakes when I make them. But it's all in an effort to help and do the right thing. And I think we all do have a little bit of that in us. We have empathy. We want to help folks.
I have felt that many times in my life, in the past and even in the present, where I felt some form of racism, prejudice, bias, unconscious bias, all of it, right? And the challenging part of it is, number one, you can't empirically prove it, right? But it's something. I think people need to hear it from us, that it's something that you feel. It's something that you feel, and then as a Black person or a minority, you sort of, over the years you've been living in your body, you sort of develop this finely tuned radar for it, and you feel it. And I think just being able to say something like that speaks volumes as a leader, and people on your platform, people who follow you, need to be able to hear that, and they need to be able to understand what type of person you are and what type of platform of inclusivity you're building, and what type of mindset you're building across your entire platform, so that they know what type of platform they're on. And if they're not on board with it, maybe, you have to say goodbye to some of those folks.
Yeah.
I think we just have to be honest with ourselves and who our friends and family are, and would they possibly challenge us intellectually about this situation in any way? And if yes, then talk to those people. And if not, and if there won't be really any growth from it, then maybe we reach out to some other people that will really challenge us to answer these sensitive questions that could, that you risk yourself of offending people, but it has to be talked about.
Kind of powerful is my son Charlie's response to everything, because he really has no idea what's going on. He's only 6, but he sees it and people talk about it, and he asked me basically what was happening, and I just the best way I could try to explain to him that some people just aren't treated right. People aren't treated the way that they're supposed to be treated, like how you treat your friends in school, because I mean, he has such a diverse friendship, group, and I wish we could all have more of that. That speaks volumes. But he understood, But I think that's where it starts. I think it's all about educating and re-educating and re-educating us, the ones that should know better, and then educating the ones that are a clean slate. That's what really try to set him off the right way, and to have him realize that having all these friends is fantastic, and treating people like you want to be treated is the way that we have to live.
I just want to thank you, Julio, for doing this and making this to your point, it does take courage to do this. And I think when people open up a forum and open the conversation and allow people like me that don't have that, like the same type of experience, to openly ask me questions and not feel judged for it, it makes me feel more support. So then I feel more comfortable talking to more people about it. And I think ultimately, like, that's what I was hoping to get out of this, was to have the ability to be more, not confident, but comfortable having those uncomfortable conversations without fear of like being judged for being ignorant or whatever. Because to I forget who said it. I think Brock said it. We all have our preconceived snap judgments on people. It's just something that we're all born with. And I think things like this can help to break those barriers. So I appreciate you guys taking the time to do it.
Thank you.
To lift up a positive impact in our community.
So we got that. Now, thank you for watching. There's something very, very, very important that I want you to read and say and truly understand, because I've experienced this too. It is okay to say, I don't have words to describe how I feel. If you don't have words to describe how you feel about trying to help or anything regarding racism and working towards a solution, or your past experience, I understand. And I have to give you permission to say I don't have words to describe how I feel, or I give myself permission to say I don't have words to describe how I feel. It's very common, but that is a starting point, and that could be used in a conversation is what I'm getting at. Now, cultivate a new way of thinking, right? So what you heard was from last year's response. Last year, this time, the reality of racism was shown to us every day on mainstream media. It was trending. Many wanted their voice to be heard and be part of the solution. The visual and daily reminder of the reality of racism in our communities inspired many to take new steps towards overcoming racism. Some fitness gyms, studios, and online business leaders put out statements to condone racism. Some chose not to. It was heartbreaking to witness the video. Unfortunately, this is happening every day. Even if you're not seeing it in mainstream media, a level of racism is continuing as we speak, whether it's verbal or physical, conscious or unconscious. More than likely conscious. It is happening today. The level, the extreme varies, but any form of racism is not negotiable nor acceptable. So now that it is not in the mainstream. Many think that it's no longer an issue or that others are working on it. The truth is we need your help today. So what I did to try to evoke some inspiration, motivation to continue working on the solution, I created a short slideshow of quotes from many leaders throughout history that fought for racial equality and a dismantling of systemic racism. My hope is that it will inspire you today. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for watching that. So my question for you today is, what are you doing when it's not trending? You can think about this, but I have an answer for you. You are watching this video, so you are doing something about it. And that is fantastic. Every effort counts. It is not an insignificant thing that you are doing right now by watching this video, and we're working together. Okay, so time to take action. I am going to basically share the final part of this presentation. What we do is more important than what we say. Do not base success on how many attendees or social media likes. Example of this is today, for me. Remember that our efforts are to plant seeds. More people will see what we do than actually engage if it's on social media with your post or even attend your events, as I said earlier. What I'm getting at is you truly never know who you might inspire. Hosting an event, posting on social media is all part of the process to continue the dialogue, plant seeds, and it is a form of taking action. I really, really believe the power to create change starts within you, and it takes time. Take steps to align yourself with those who also want to be part of the solution. Share your questions with your support network. It may encourage others to participate in the discussion. Most professional organizations now have a DEI. If you don't know what that is, it's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Group. And joining one is a great way to get involved. This could be your PT certification, your licensing board, your employer. please inquire about if they have a DEI or create one. You can do it. I believe our contributions go beyond what we do in the gym. Personal trainers are viewed as coaches and leaders. For those of us with robust social media platforms, we have a responsibility to lift up the voices of those who do not. I invite you to continue to work with me towards long-lasting change. Our collective efforts will make a positive impact in our community. So that concludes today's open forum or my presentation for the second annual Racism and Leadership for the Health and Fitness Professional. And I would like to ask of you to please post your comments and questions. Send me a message. Tell me what you got out of this workshop. I will be having more in the future. And if you want to collaborate, I would love to do so. With technology, we can do many, many things. So if you want to reach out to me, these are my social media links. I will be more than happy to connect with you. And that's about it, my friend. I am very grateful for the opportunity to do this, and I'm looking forward to working with you in the future. Take care.